Gotham's yours, sweetheart. Nothing's standing in your way now.
Hey, welcome back to ScreenCrush. I'm Colton Ogburn. There is a massive Easter egg in the Penguin that just revealed the main villain for the Batman 2. And this huge blink and you miss it detail points to the villain being the Scarecrow. And there are so many other hints that tell us everything we need to know about the Batman 2 and how Scarecrow connects to everything that was set up in the Penguin. So here's what's next for the Batman and the Penguin and how we think this sequel will also bring back the Riddler and the Joker. And our theory will even include Two-Face, Clayface, and the Court of Owls.
How many lives will you destroy in pursuit of what you call justice? You are the product of everything you fear.
The fourth episode of The Penguin showed us flashbacks of how Sophia ended up in Arkham Asylum, where she meets Julian Rush. In the present day, Rush brings Sophia to his office after sustaining an injury to her head. And in his office, we can see two very special items. Now, we need to thank Reddit user Bebe Bok Choi who found this huge Easter egg. So, on Rush's table, right here, there is a strange glove with needles. On the other side of the table, there is a mysterious item that looks a lot like a mask. And both of these items are Easter eggs for the Scarecrow. In the Batman Arkham games and in recent comics, Scarecrow wears a glove with syringes poking out of it. He uses them to inject his fear toxin into his victims. And this glove right here looks exactly like Scarecrow's glove. And that other item that looks like a mask looks a lot like Scarecrow's mask from the comics. There's even this tiny part right here that looks like a scythe, and Scarecrow of course uses a scythe as a weapon in the comics.
The size, the material, it all fits.
So this is a very clear tease for the Scarecrow, and we don't think it's just a fun little Easter egg that the show's creators threw in. We believe that this is a deliberate hint that was placed there to set up Scarecrow as the main villain in the Batman Part 2. And guys, there are so many other hints other than these items that point to Scarecrow. There's the bliss and the mushrooms from Arkham Asylum, and there's Rush's hallucination machine with the red lights. Now, we have to remember that this is actually a real psychotherapy treatment called EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. It's a treatment technique for PTSD, something that I might need to look into after last Tuesday.
Tuesday, I hate the Tuesday.
Now, in the finale, Rush uses EMDR to force Francis to relive that meaningful night with Oz. And previously, Sophia relived her deep traumatic memories of Arkham, but she also sees her brother killed, which gives this form of treatment some horror vibes. And we believe that the EMDR is connected to the bliss drug, which is also red. The mushrooms are from Arkham. Rush is from Arkham. So it's possible that taking bliss and then being exposed to the red light of the EMDR can trigger deep traumas that will be manifested as horrifying hallucinations. And this sounds to me a lot like, you guessed it, Scarecrow.
Would you like to see my mask?
And yes, we already got a realistic take on Scarecrow in Batman Begins, and Cillian Murphy was great, but the character was highly underutilized in Nolan's trilogy.
Not my diagnosis.
And I think Scarecrow would work so well as the villain in The Batman sequel.
What about the Joker?
Well, I am really interested to see Reeves' take on the Joker, but I don't know, the Joker has gotten a lot of screen time in other Batman films and Joker standalone films. And speaking of the Joker, we have some awesome Joker-inspired merch up on our merch store right now, ScreenCrushMerch.com. Be sure to check that out, helps us out a lot. And I think Scarecrow just works thematically for what this Reeves Batman verse is going for. So much of The Penguin deals with psychology, mental illness, traumas, how these characters twist their own realities.
I know what you did to Jack and Betty. I always known.
You're getting things confused. It's just your disease talking, Ma.
Scarecrow will challenge Batman's greatest fears. Bruce admitted to Alfred that his most traumatic fear is losing someone he loves.
I haven't got past this fear of ever going through any of that again. Of losing somebody I care about.
I mean, just look at how he reacts when Selina's life is in danger. And he never overcame this trauma when he lost his parents, so it just makes sense for it to be a big part of the Batman 2. And what better way to bring all of those traumas out into the surface than the villain who uses fear as a weapon? He's one of the few villains who can bring Batman to the limit and force him to question and test his own sanity and trauma.
So this creepy Rush guy is Scarecrow?
Well, it would fit. And hey, it's possible that Julian Rush isn't even his real name and his actual name is Jonathan Crane. But I just don't see this guy as the Scarecrow. I'm still not sure what his deal is. He might be some sinister player or just a really horny strange dude. Now, sure, the glove and the mask are in his office, which is sort of a confirmation that he is Scarecrow. But I think that this could be more of an Easter egg that sets up Scarecrow for the sequel, and Rush could be a misdirect.
Holy red herring.
So he could be just somebody who works for him. I see the Reeves take on Jonathan Crane Scarecrow being like Hannibal Lecter, but the Mads Mikkelsen version from Hannibal. He can be this brilliant psychologist who works at Arkham. He weaponized the mushrooms into a drug. He created the EMDR treatment to target traumas that manifest as anxiety-inducing hallucinations. This would be a grounded version of the fear toxin. After all, the doctors in Arkham started using bliss and some really morally questionable methods to cure patients.
And nothing delivers a better escape than bliss. That's why they gave it to us in Arkham.
So it would make sense if Jonathan Crane, aka the Scarecrow, is the head of Arkham and he's been terrorizing the patients there for decades. This would fit in with the theme of Gotham's corruption. The cops and the politicians are so self-serving that they don't even care about the citizens living in the city, unless they're part of this elite class.
City's dividing power from Crown Point. Families are living in the dark, the freeze. It ain't right.
So the patients in Arkham might as well not exist for the establishment. This allowed for Scarecrow to have free reign and conduct all kinds of inhumane experiments to satisfy his obsession with fear.
Fear plays an interesting role in our lives. How dare we let it motivate us? How dare we let it into our decision-making, into our livelihoods, into our relationships?
I want a terrifying expert of human behavior, someone who knows what makes people tick, a man who enjoys dissecting his victim's psychology and getting into people's heads and uncovering their deepest secret, their most terrifying traumas, and weaponize their biggest fears. Manipulate them, play them like they're his puppets.
Think.
He rules fear, so it has no power over him. But this is why Batman makes Crane fear, because he's a being he cannot understand, and that scares him. Think of it like a predator whose territory is suddenly invaded by another dominating predator. So, Scarecrow's motivation going after Batman is to understand him, dissect his psyche. So, he must dominate Batman to assert his rule of fear. He even wants to cure him in some really twisted way.
Does that outfit help bury your feelings, hiding your true self? Oh, you are a truly extraordinary specimen. I look forward to breaking you.
Imagine a horror scene like in The Shining where the Scarecrow messes with Batman's mind, playing on his deepest and most terrifying traumas. But it's not about making Batman see things, it's about bringing up what is buried deep in his subconscious. So, here's how it all connects. Crane creates the mushrooms. He lets Sophia sell bliss to push the drug into Gotham. Give everyone a taste so that they want even more. In the sequel, Crane upgrades the mushroom formula, enhancing the drug. And since Oz is the new kingpin of Gotham, Crane works with him to mass produce bliss. Bliss is such an addictive drug because it disconnects people from reality, giving them relief from their trauma. But the new bliss acts differently. The drug still stimulates euphoria, but it also covertly triggers panic and brings up traumas and fears. So it makes bliss super addictive because the people taking it are in a constant chase to the next high to numb their anxiety. However, this time the bliss will be more than just a street drug. Crane will use Penguin's new contacts with City Hall to legalize bliss, turning it into an antidepressant type medicine. After all, Bliss has a proven track record in Arkham Asylum, so in a way, the patients were lab rats to prove the efficiency of this drug. But it's not about him getting rich from the bliss or blowing fear gas all over the city. This is all part of a much bigger plan that connects Scarecrow to the real power in Gotham, the Court of Owls. But we'll get to that a little later in the video. But for him, the only way to fix his patients is to break them, shred their sanity, manipulate them. Because only when one conquers their fear, then they cannot be ruled by it.
Madness can be a medicine for the modern world. They can be a boost to our psychological immune systems to help fight the existential crisis of normal life.
Now here Oz proves his usefulness by making a deal with a big pharmaceutical corporation in Gotham. They will produce Bliss officially for Oz and Scarecrow. So basically imagine Bliss becoming like the opioid or the fentanyl crisis. And this would of course be a fantastic commentary going back into Matt Reeves' theme of class warfare by addressing the fact that, companies like private health insurance companies and big pharma type companies, how they really are screwing working people. And this is where Crane and Oz will clash with Bruce Wayne, because in the first Batman, there are hints of Wayne Enterprises having some financial problems.
Our accounting friends at Wayne Enterprises are coming for breakfast.
I haven't got time for this.
It's getting serious, Bruce. If this continues, it won't be long before you've nothing left.
I don't care about that.
For all we know, the company is going under, or perhaps the board is trying to take over the company. But after Riddler's exposure of the Wayne secrets, things might get even more complicated for Bruce, especially if he needs to deal with the public believing that his father ordered the murder of that reporter. Actually, the company Oz makes a deal with should actually be Wayne Enterprises. So some members of the board want to sell Bliss to make a lot of money, and they need to get Bruce out of the company so he can't stop them. And Bruce had no idea what was happening in his own corporation because he was so devoted to being Batman. So this is why he must take an active role of Bruce Wayne, the wealthy elite, to save the city from a possible Bliss epidemic.
You really could be doing more for this city. Your family has a history of philanthropy, but as far as I can tell, you're not doing anything.
And also this way Batman will go against another kind of corrupt criminal. Rather than fighting low-level street crime, here we will see a clash with the higher class of Gotham, the kind of people you can't just smack around without serious consequences.
Here's the thing about being rich. It's like being a superhero. You get to do what you want, the authorities can't really touch you, you get to wear a costume, but it's designed by Armani.
So Scarecrow and the Penguin will be the main villains of this sequel, but I want another villain in the Batman 2 as well, and that's Clayface. Though I'm not sure if the monster version of Clayface we all know and love could actually work in this grounded world that Matt Reeves has created. But I've got a way to solve it, by using the main themes of fear and identity. Matt Hagen is a former actor who lost everything after his face was disfigured, possibly during the Riddler flooding. So he loses his big future and he's stuck with acting jobs in horror movie roles, so producers can exploit his disfigurement. That of course ties to Oz's disfigurement. His injury and lost career triggers a mental deterioration. Hagen becomes addicted to Bliss, and after being manipulated by Crane, Hagen uses all kinds of prosthetics and makeup to be like this chameleon. Basically how the makeup department transformed Colin Farrell's pretty face into the Penguin. And under Crane's orders, Clayface starts impersonating other people, which will stir the panic in Gotham.
Identity theft is not a joke, Jim. Millions of families suffer every year.
And when Batman is under the Bliss influence, his fears will depict Clayface like the monster from the comics. That is the perfect way to do your traditional Clayface without breaking that realistic feel of these movies. And he gets Clayface to dress up like those Riddler supporters, and he starts killing people as a murderous vigilante. This inspires others to join and start taking the law into their own hands.
We're trying to help you.
I don't need help.
What gives you the right? What's the difference between you and me?
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
And of course this turns the public on the Batman. He's seen as a symbol that inspired the Riddler and other vigilantes.
You showed me all it takes is fear and a little focused violence. You inspired me.
So yes, if you're a comic book fan, we're taking some ideas from Batman Prey. Okay, so this is how we see it all coming together. Since Riddler is in Arkham, Crane is treating him and dissecting his mind to psychoanalyze Batman. But when the Riddler's copycats start terrorizing the city, the mayor, Bella Real, orders Crane to question Riddler because he might be responsible. But of course, Crane is behind it all and it's all part of his plan. Crane will claim that at first Batman was what Gotham needed, but how can Gotham's justice system rebuild itself after decades of corruption when a mass vigilante gets to operate outside of the law and deliver his own sense of justice? Batman doesn't answer to anyone, and yet he's allowed to attack Gotham citizens. Could the city face a lawsuit if one of Batman's victims sue for vigilante brutality? Batman shows up in crime scenes. He even decides who's guilty and who isn't. How can the police build a case based on evidence provided and contaminated by a mass vigilante? And now he and the Riddler have become a symbol that inspired the deranged to take up arms and kill people.
He's out of line, but he's right.
Crane then convinces the mayor that they must form an anti-vigilante task force, which includes hunting down the Batman. In the Penguin finale, the corrupt councilman says that the mayor is forming an anti-corruption commission.
Rayo, she's forming a commission, anti-corruption. They're going after cops, city officials.
And this is where we're introduced to the new district attorney of Gotham, Harvey Dent. Two-Face is one of the best Batman villains, and he also represents one of his biggest failures.
Good old Bruce. Always there. You never give up on me.
But I wouldn't turn Harvey Dent into Two-Face in the Batman sequel. Batman 2 should build up Harvey as the new hotshot district attorney who has zero tolerance for crime and corruption. Harvey wants to clean up Gotham, and he and Bruce work together to fix what the Riddler broke. But Bruce won't be the usual playboy philanthropist because he has no clue how to behave in normal society.
L to the OG, dude be the OG, and he playing.
So he's going to be awkward as hell, and Harvey will help him because he's super charismatic and likable. However, Harvey does have a dark side. He grew up in poverty and hardship, and his father was abusive and a criminal. This is why he sees crime like a sickness.
You're a disease, and I'm the cure.
But he'll also suffer from bipolar disorder. One side is this ethical man who believes in justice, but he's prone to serious anger issues, and only his wife, Gilda, can balance his two sides. And Crane's warning about Batman comes true when Harvey works with Batman and Gordon to build a huge case against some corrupt politicians in the city council. But most of the evidence was provided by Batman, meaning that it's inadmissible evidence in court. And because of Scarecrow using Clayface behind the scenes to reveal the source of the evidence, the entire case will fall apart. And this sends Harvey into a spiral since he's so split about how to work with the Batman while also cleaning up Gotham.
I can't really be a lawyer and a criminal, can I?
And this is how Crane will exploit and manipulate Harvey's anger and traumas, until he decides to fully give in to his dark side and become Two-Face.
Our scars can destroy us, even after the physical wounds have healed.
And this is what makes Scarecrow the perfect foil for Batman, because this is exactly what's going through Batman's head. This way, Scarecrow can test those questions Batman asked himself at the end of that first movie. What kind of hero is he meant to be? He needs to be something more than vengeance. He needs to inspire Gotham rather than using criminals like punching bags. This could be an argument for why this sequel needs Robin. He needs to see that Batman inspires hope, and what better way to show it than through Robin? A kid who believes in Batman, someone Batman inspired. Give him hope, while Robin himself gives Batman the hope that he believes in his mission.
Robin needed to help bring the men who murdered his family to justice.
So he could turn out like you?
So that he wouldn't.
And this will all culminate in a showdown in Arkham Asylum, where we will see Crane manipulating the Riddler the whole movie, and then he'll let Riddler, Sophia, and maybe even the Joker start a riot in Arkham. So Batman must then enter the madhouse to face true horror.
Oh, like those Arkham games, right?
Yes, but also the most disturbing Batman story from the comics, Arkham Asylum, a serious house on serious Earth. I want to see Batman in a horror setting, in a maze of horrors and insanity, with each step taking him further and further into his traumas and past as he descends into madness, while being under the influence of bliss. And Scarecrow is always there, like an ethereal creature, speaking to Batman, manipulating him, and playing on his fears. This is all part of Crane's plan to push Batman to the limit.
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman.
And this could also set up the plot for the Batman 3 because there's this unresolved mystery about Martha Wayne. Now we have to remember, she's from the Arkham family, and the history of Arkham is filled with tragedy and lots of strangeness. Martha's mother killed her husband and then committed suicide, and Martha's family locked her up in Arkham, and she's been in and out of the asylum while her family covered up their secrets and Martha's mental illness.
The Waynes and the Arkhams, Gotham's legacy of lies and murder.
And this is somewhat similar to the Falcones covering for Carmine's murders and framing Sophia. So there's some mystery to unpack here. Crane might have worked in Arkham back when Martha was a patient there. Maybe he's connected to the Arkham family conspiracy. In fact, they might have even allowed him to prey on his patients for some messed up reasons. So it would be really interesting if Scarecrow is such an expert of the human psyche that he figures out that Batman is Bruce Wayne. And then he uses Martha and her family's secrets against him. And And this could lead to the Batman 3, where the secrets of the Arkham family will lead to the true force of power in Gotham. And these villains will be the Court of Owls.
Oh. Bro, you gotta go read Court of Owls.
Court of Owls is the best one.
I didn't read Court of Owls. Good.
Now, we've talked about the Court of Owls in our previous breakdowns. Remember, they're a cabal of wealthy elites who rule Gotham from the shadows, and Matt Reeves is clearly setting up the Arkham family as key members of the Court of Owls. So, the court will become the embodiment of the ideas that Batman and the Penguin are exploring: class warfare and unrestrained corruption of privilege.
Name for the rich crooks who took credit for your family's hard work. They run shit, we eat shit.
And what a perfect culmination this would be for the Matt Reeves Batman trilogy, for Batman to face the court after he discovers that his mother's side of the family is responsible for Gotham becoming a criminal-infested city. And Scarecrow will be their agent, and the Bliss was the part of their plan to reinstate their control over Gotham after Carmine's death. And this is what we think will happen in the Batman 2. So let me know, what do you think about our ideas here? Do you agree that Scarecrow should be the main villain in the Batman 2? And hey, if not, let us know in the comments below who you think should be the villain.
That revenge is a dish best served cold.
I want to thank the writer and editor of this video, my good friend Pavel. Great job, my friend. And if you're new here, be sure to subscribe, smash that bell for alerts. For ScreenCrush, I'm Colton Ogburn.